Hi, this is Lisa from SavingCentByCent.com. This week I want to share with you what meals I'm going to make for my family. I know as a mom, I'm so busy, I'm trying to take care of my family, and sometimes trying to figure out what's for dinner is the last thing on my mind. So I want to share with you some things that I do to try to make that easier, and then we'll go through the 7 days of meals that I'm going to make this week. So one of the things that I do is I do put together a meal plan. I actually do 2 weeks worth of meals, so I'll write down the 14 meals that I like to make my family for 2 weeks. And I don't necessarily assign those meals to a specific day because some days I are really busy and I just don't have time, so I need a quick meal. So what I'll do is each morning I'll look at that list and I'll figure out what meal I want to do that day. It helps so much to already have in mind that morning what I'm going to make for my family. Because then if it's a crock pot dish, I'll throw it in the crock pot. Or if it's something else, I know that what time I'll need to start making the dinner, like 4 o'clock or 4:30. So today for day 1, I'm going to make crock pot lasagna. And I'm going to show you how I do that. I will link to all the recipes below. You can head over there to print off the recipe. Okay, to make the crock pot lasagna, first brown a pound of ground beef. Now, I don't always do a pound. I might do 3/4 of a pound or sometimes a half a pound. It just depends on what I have that week. Okay, once the ground beef is cooked, then we'll add in 1 small onion, chopped, and a clove of garlic. And you'll cook it for a few minutes. Okay, once the onions have cooked for a few minutes and are starting to turn kind of a translucent, then you'll add 28 ounces of diced tomatoes. I just put in 2 of the small cans. Then I will also add in 15 ounces of tomato sauce, and I just do 2 small cans. Now you add in a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of dried oregano, and a half a teaspoon of basil. Stir that all together. Okay, while the meat mixture is simmering, in a separate bowl, you put a cup of cottage cheese and about a cup of mozzarella cheese. And I'll stir that together. Okay, now we are going to put 1/3 of the meat mixture in the bottom of the crock pot. I just kind of guesstimate probably a couple of cups. I'm going to take some lasagna noodles, uncooked lasagna noodles, and break them and put them in. If you cook them, then they're going to be soggy when you're ready to eat, so you want to make sure that they're not cooked. So I'll take 3 of these lasagna noodles and I'll just put it in. I'm going to take half of the cheese mixture, and I went ahead and added part of my Parmesan cheese in here. Just spread that around. Then we'll add in more sauce. A few more cups. Smooth it. And 3 more uncooked lasagna noodles. Add in the rest of our cheese. So this is the second layer. This is our cottage cheese and cheese. Spread that around. Finish off with the remainder of the sauce. Just spread that around. Then I like to go ahead and put mozzarella cheese on top to cover it. And then sprinkle Parmesan cheese on it on top. And that's it. Okay, so with the lasagna, then I just set it for 4 hours on low and it'll be ready for dinner. So here's the crock pot lasagna. I've included garlic bread and broccoli, and this is what's for dinner. For day 2 today, I'm going to make homemade chicken noodle soup. And my family just loves chicken noodle soup, so I wanted to make it. And also the weather is turning cooler, and so it just felt like something we wanted to have for tonight. Now, making homemade chicken noodle soup isn't too challenging or difficult. So this morning, what I did, you can see behind me, I have a crock pot, and I put 2 chicken breasts in the crock pot, and then I took a packet of this Lipton onion soup, and I poured the packet all over the chicken, and then I put about 4 cups of water in there because I want to make kind of a broth. So the chicken in the crock pot is going to cook all day long for about 8 hours so that the chicken is nice and tender, and then I'll be able to shred it. And I didn't have a lot of time this morning, so I just took my chicken that was frozen in the freezer and I just put it straight into my crock pot and then turned it on after I added the Lipton onion soup. I didn't have time to thaw it in the microwave, so that's what I did. So I think with homemade chicken noodle soup, the thing that takes the longest is actually to chop up the vegetables. So right now I'm going to take a few minutes to chop the vegetables, and also later tonight I'm going to show you how to actually make the homemade noodles. There are days that I don't have time to do it, and so I'll just use packaged noodles, egg noodles. But today I'll show you how to make the homemade noodles, and they're actually really quite easy to do. For the chicken noodle soup, we're going to cut up 1 onion. Just cut the onion into some small pieces, and I'll just stick this in a bowl. You'll also cut up 6 to 8 medium carrots. That's about a half a pound to a pound of carrots. And we'll just slice them. Okay, I just sliced up all the carrots, and then I'll put them in the same bowl as the onions. You'll also slice up 3 celery stalks. Just put that in the bowl with the rest of the vegetables. You'll also mince 3 cloves of garlic. And I'll go ahead and put that in the bowl with the other vegetables. Now what I'll do is I'll actually just cover this bowl and put it in the fridge until I'm ready to use it for tonight's dinner. Okay, so this afternoon I tried to plan ahead, and I went ahead and I cut up all the vegetables for the soup. I also, you can see behind me, I put some rolls on a pan. Today I just did Rhodes rolls because it's really simple and easy, and sometimes you just need something really simple. And then tonight all I have really left to do is shred the chicken and put everything in a pot and simmer it. I will be making the homemade noodles for tonight to show you. They're only 4 ingredients, that's it. And they're actually quite simple to do. I think a lot of people think, oh, it's too hard to make your own homemade noodles for the chicken noodle soup, but it's actually really quite simple that I want to show you how to do it. The meat is cooked all day, and now we are ready to shred it. So I'm going to go ahead and I just use 2 forks, and I just quickly shred it. Then I'll put it in the pan to get ready to make the chicken noodle soup. I'll also then pour the stock from the crock pot into the pot that I'm going to use to cook. Once I put the broth in from the crock pot, I'll add all the vegetables that I cut. This morning I added about 4 cups of water to the chicken, but I can see that I'm going to need to add more water to make my soup, so I'll go ahead and add some more cups of water. Okay, now we're going to add in spices. You want chicken bouillon cubes, or 1 teaspoon of chicken bouillon per cup of water. So I just added in 3 cups of water, so I'll add in 3 of these and get those boiling and dissolving. Also, poultry seasoning, I just kind of sprinkle a little bit. Now these seasonings that I'm telling you about, some of them you'll have to add more in. It's kind of to taste. We'll also add in basil. I'll just sprinkle some in. Most likely I'll add in more of that a little bit later. Oregano. Sprinkle that in. Garlic salt. I usually add in a little bit more garlic salt. And then onion salt. Sprinkle some of that in. Okay. So now that I have these spices in, I'll let it simmer for about 15 minutes as the vegetables start to soften. Then I'll take a taste and see what it needs more of, and I'll go through those spices again and add in just a little bit more of things. Okay, so while that's simmering, I'm going to show you how to make homemade noodles. Okay, now we're going to make the homemade noodles. So it's only 4 ingredients. We'll start with 1 cup of flour, a half a teaspoon of salt. Stir the salt into the flour. 2 tablespoons of milk. And then 1 egg beaten. Go ahead and stir that, and we're going to form into dough. I'm going to add in just a little bit more milk so that it comes together. I want to have it start to stick together. I'm going to put this on a floured surface, and I'm going to knead it together and turn it into a dough. From here, we're going to roll it out. And we're just rolling it really thin. I'm going to let it sit about 20 minutes, and then I'll roll it out just a little bit more to make it a little bit easier, and then we'll go from there. Okay, I'm going to roll this out. You just want to make it really thin. Now that I have it rolled out, I'm going to cut it into 4 parts. I'm going to put flour on these, and I'm going to stack them on top of each other. Now they're ready to cut. Okay, I transferred these four pieces onto a cutting board. Now I'm going to cut them really thin. And as I cut them, I'll get a little bit of flour. I don't want them to stick together, so I'm going to get a little bit of flour to help them not stick. But you just cut all of them really thin, because when you put them in the soup, they're going to grow. So I've just been cutting and then putting a little bit of flour on, trying to cut thin. A little bit of flour so that the noodles don't stick together. Okay, so I tasted the soup and it tastes really good. And so now I'm bringing it to a boil, and I'll drop the noodles in, or the dough in, a few at a time. It needs to be boiling when you drop your homemade noodles in, and the noodles will expand. So I'll drop a few in and then stir it in and drop a few more so that way they're not sticking. Okay, I added all the noodles in and then I'll let it boil for about 5 minutes and it should be done. And I let the soup, prior to adding the noodles in, I boiled the soup, or I simmered the soup for about 20-25 minutes until the carrots and the celery and onions were softened. Okay, so homemade chicken noodle soup and some rolls. And that's what's for dinner tonight. So today, for day 3, we're going to make crock pot macaroni and cheese tonight. So today for me is a really busy day and I don't have a lot of time to do dinner. And so this crock pot macaroni and cheese dinner is really simple to put together. It only takes me minutes to get it into the crock pot, and then it's quick and easy, ready for dinner tonight. To start off, I boiled 2 cups or 16 ounces of elbow macaroni, and I just did that for 2 minutes. And then I went ahead and drained it. So now I'm going to just throw it into the crock pot and show you right now. Okay, so in the crock pot, I'll put the 16 ounces of macaroni that's been cooked for only 2 minutes. Three cups of milk. 1 package of 8-ounce cream cheese and cube it. 1/4 cup of butter cubed. 3 cups of cheddar cheese shredded. And 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese. Well, I'm just going to stir that all together. And then I'll cook that on low for 2 to 3 hours. Okay, the crock pot macaroni and cheese is done. Now all I'm going to do is I took off the lid and then I'm just going to stir it. And it's ready to eat. And I'll just serve that tonight with some vegetables. Okay, so tonight we've got crock pot macaroni and cheese, and then I did a side of zucchini and salad. And that's what's for dinner. Today for day 4, we're going to make creamy tomato soup and grilled cheese sandwiches. I love that this meal I can literally whip together within minutes and it's ready to go. Some days are really busy days, and this is one of my go-to soup meals that I'll make on days that I just don't have a lot of time. To make the creamy tomato soup, we'll pour in 4 8-ounce cans of tomato sauce. You could also just do 1 29-ounce can of tomato sauce. You also put in 1 cup of heavy whipping cream. Then you'll add 2 teaspoons of brown sugar, 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and an eighth a teaspoon of pepper. Just stir that all together. And then you'll heat it on the stove for about 10-15 minutes, just till it's heated through. And then it's ready to serve. I'll serve this tomato soup with grilled cheese sandwiches. Okay, for dinner tonight we have creamy tomato soup and grilled cheese sandwiches, and then a side of salad. And that's what's for dinner. For day 5 today, I'm going to make Chinese tacos for my family tonight. When I was younger, my mother would make Chinese tacos quite often because it was a simple, fast meal that she could whip together. And now I make it for my family today. Now the reason it's called Chinese tacos is because the sauce is served over the Chinese chow mein noodles, or rice. So now I'm going to show you how to make Chinese tacos. To make the Chinese tacos, you start by browning a half a pound of ground beef. One tip to save you time on browning ground beef is right after you purchase the ground beef from the store, then come home and brown it right then, and then put it into Ziploc bags and freeze it. And then it will be ready to go to just put into meals straight from the freezer. You can quickly thaw it or just put it in here to thaw. And that will save you some time on getting dinner on the table faster that night. Okay, once the hamburger is browned, and then drain it, then you'll add 1 tablespoon of taco seasoning. Mix that around. Then you'll add 2 cans of tomato sauce, 8 ounce. Then you're going to use these tomato sauce cans, which again are the 8 ounce, and you're going to fill it up with water and do 2 cans of water. Stir that around. Next you're going to add an 1/8 cup of brown sugar, 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, and then sprinkle with garlic salt. And go ahead and heat that through and let it simmer for about 5 to 10 minutes. Once the sauce is simmered for 5 to 10 minutes, then it's done. And you just serve it over Chinese chow mein noodles or rice. I sliced up lettuce, tomatoes, green onion, and have some shredded cheese, and we'll put that on the Chinese tacos tonight. So here are our Chinese tacos for tonight, and with a side of broccoli. And on top I just put lettuce, shredded cheese, tomatoes, and green onions. This is what's for dinner tonight. For day 6 today, I'm going to make Crock Pot chicken enchiladas. I love crock pot meals because they're usually quick to put together, and then I don't have to worry about it all day, and then it's usually for dinner. So let's get started. The first thing that you'll need for the crock pot chicken enchiladas is shredded chicken. And I always do mine in advance, so I have a bowl of shredded chicken here. Earlier this week, I put the chicken in my crock pot and let it just cook all day. And before I went to bed, I just shredded it and then put it in this bowl and put it in my refrigerator. And so what I'll do with the shredded chicken is I'll bag them into 2-cup increments and then freeze them. When I need shredded chicken, I just pull it out of my freezer and throw it in my meals. I've already gone ahead and done the prep work for the shredded chicken. The recipe calls for 3 to 4 chicken breasts cooked and shredded. And so I'll go ahead and measure out some chicken and put it in a pan, and we're going to put some ingredients in to let that simmer. I measured out about 3 cups of chicken, which I think is about 3 chicken breasts, and I put it in a pan on the stove. Now on the stove, you'll add an 1/8 cup of taco seasoning, 1 1/4 cups of water, and you're going to let this simmer on the stove for about 10 minutes. While the chicken is simmering, in a medium bowl, you're going to put 1 12-ounce jar of chunky salsa, which is about 1.5 cups of salsa. You'll also add 1 can of condensed cream of chicken soup and 1 can of condensed cream of mushroom soup, so the 10.75 ounce cans. So this is the cream of mushroom and the cream of chicken. Then you'll also add in 2 cups of shredded cheese and stir that together. Now ready to lay your items in the crock pot. First you'll start off and spray the crock pot with the cooking spray. Next you'll take corn tortillas and place them in the bottom. Then you'll take a layer of chicken, simmered, and you'll put that, just kind of spread it evenly on the bottom. Then you'll pour a layer of the cream of chicken and mushroom and salsa mixture on top of the chicken. And you'll go ahead and repeat the layers. Now I thought I had enough corn tortillas in my freezer. I usually keep things stocked up, but I noticed I was short, so I'm improvising today and I'm going to put flour tortillas also. And then we'll repeat the layers. Then you'll end with putting tortillas on top. And sprinkling it with cheese. And then you'll cook this on high for 1 hour or on low for 2 hours. And that's it. The crock pot enchiladas are done. And I'm just getting ready to dish them up. They look really yummy and delicious. And this is what's for dinner tonight, and I will put a side salad and some bread with it. So that's what's for dinner. For day 7, it's going to be really simple. We are going to have leftovers. So any of the food that our family hasn't eaten this week, I'll bring them out of the fridge, and then all the kids and my husband will choose what they want to eat. Usually after I make a dinner, there's leftovers for the next day for lunch, and we, for the most part, eat most of our leftovers for lunch the next day. But sometimes there are still leftovers. So at the end of the week, by Thursday or Friday or even Saturday, that's when I'll choose a day to have leftovers for dinner. It could be on a day that I'm just tired or busy, or where when I look in the fridge, I know, okay, we need to eat these leftovers so they don't go to waste. If it's going to waste, then obviously we're not able to save money on food. So the one way to save money on food is to make sure to eat it up and use it up and eat those leftovers. There you have it. That is my week of meals this week. I hope that you'll enjoy some of the meals with your family. These are meals that my family loves a lot. So if you like this video, if you'll please give it a thumbs up, and please make sure to subscribe to my channel. And leave a comment below with what your favorite meal is, or if you liked one of these meals. I'd love to hear. So thanks so much. See you later.